TDS Valentines 2026 update just dropped yesterday with some pretty cool skins and most importantly, new balance changes. Now, I did actually record some footage on my thoughts on the last balance changes, which were shock and awe, but I didn't finish it in time, so I decided to scrap it in the end. So in this video, you will see my old tier list of the changes I liked and how I will update it with this new Valentine's balance changes. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so here we are with the Valentine's Day 2026 balance changes. Apparently these were made with community feedback, which I'm pretty thankful about, and yeah, I've already seen a lot of these changes and I didn't find any bad ones, so I thought this was a pretty good change. So let's see what they are. Oh yeah, and as you can see, this is my old tier list for the shock and awe balance changes. I'll just quickly explain my tiers. Like perfect were the ones I thought were really good, and then the good direction that needs more were ones that I liked, but I felt like could have been expanded in a more cooler way. And is there any other interesting tiers? I guess this one's funny. I don't like these, but deserve nerf / buff. Yeah, these were towers that basically I didn't like the changes to them, like obviously farm DJ Commander, but they deserved the nerfs they got. Like they were so strong for many years, so it makes sense. And then of course we have the needs major rework or revert. We all know who those are, so yeah. Oh, let's see. So starter towers. Shotgunner, they removed his placement limit and they overall just made him a lot cheaper and more consistent with his bullet spread. He'll just be a lot better at handling like single target, and he'll still be able to deal with crowds pretty much the same as before, but now he has, you know, no placement limit and becomes like a lot spammier of a tower. I think these are really solid changes. Do I think it's enough to like move him to be used more than Assassin? I'm not sure. He did feel and perform like as good as Assassin when I tested it. So yeah, I guess for now I'll just put Shotgunner up, move it to the good direction, but might need a bit more because I feel like he should be more of an advanced tower. I'm not sure if this is quite hitting the mark for me. Like the price of like level 4 should be like 15k I feel, or even like 20k. But I think like if this is the direction they want to take it, it's good. I like it. Yeah, actually I'll put it, if this is what they're going for, I would say it's perfect. Crook Boss. Oh, so Crook Boss got all around like pretty good buffs. I like what they did to it, making a much more viable late game DPS option. And especially for beginners, like once they get that Crook Boss going, yeah, it will be a really solid option for them and they can contribute more to the team. Crook Boss, I do want to move it to the perfect tier, but I still feel like it's still too similar to like Golden Crook Boss. So I will keep it in this tier for now, and I might move it a bit later. Farm got all around really good buffs. Level 0 is a lot more friendlier now to place. Level 1 also becomes a lot more cost efficient to upgrade. So yeah, I think these were definitely needed changes to help farm really shine a bit more, especially with the 2 Cowboy variants being buffed in this update. And yeah, the max income upgrade is really nice to help the max farm pay itself off a lot more frequently. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to put farm in the perfect tier now. I know a lot of people like didn't like the nerf, and you know, it's understandable. And I myself have been using farm for what, like 6 years now? So yeah, it's crazy, but it honestly was deserved. Like, you could be so brainless to farm, have like 3 people farm, 1 person defend, and then it just demolished any hard game mode. Even like the challenge trials or hardcore, it was absurd. So yeah, I think that's fair. And now Electroshocker. What they did with Electroshocker was phenomenal. Like, they finally delivered on its fantasy of like actually being, you know, a taser type tower. It has like some stun, and it's really fast fire rate, and the hidden detection it got from the last update made it a really viable early game tower. And with the defense mode too, it gives it that great utility. Overall, I loved how they delivered on his fantasy so much more. And Electroshocker just feels great now. I use them like Fallen and Frost and Polluted and Badlands. He just feels really great for that early to mid now. So yeah, surprising to say, I think I think Electroshocker is actually perfect now. Like, that's crazy to say. Like, before he was in the needs revert or major rework, but now he's in the perfect tier. Wow, what a redemption. And finally, they buffed my boy Rocketeer. I never saw this coming, but even that small like 0.5 second change at max is enough to really make a difference. Rocketeer, perfect. Think it's a definitely deserved buff after, you know, the nerfs he got. I'm surprised they even changed him at all. Like, I thought he'd stay the same, but yeah, that's pretty fair to me. So now moving on to the advanced towers. Tesla. Ooh, Tesla. He has gotten a lot of hate for getting Electroshocker, but seems all they did was just nerf his chain range. That's not gonna do much. Like 30 studs is still really solid. Yeah, I'd say now that Electroshocker is in a good spot, it does feel a bit more different from Tesla now. I still believe that Tesla should have been reworked to be more of like the Tesla from Kingdom Rush. If you guys have ever played that game, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. But yeah, basically the Tesla from Kingdom Rush creates like an AoE field around it, kind of like a donut ring that, you know, is like an electric field. Like, I think that would have been so much cooler in my opinion. The current Tesla just feels like kind of boring, but yeah, now that Electroshocker has gotten a pretty good balance change, I think Tesla works just fine now. So turret. Now turret is actually the only tower in here I haven't tested yet, but from the looks of it, it looks pretty good to me. I like how they're moving it into like more of the fantasy of like a boss shredding tower, as it always has been implied to be from its upgrade descriptions. So yeah, honestly, I think it's a pretty fair change. Yeah, I just like it. I loved using turret before, because, you know, it's like a bigger engineer sentry, so yeah. Wait, is turret on this list? Where did I place turret? Oh, I placed her in the almost perfect tier because last update it just got +1 range. But yeah, now that they're really like going to the extreme of like buffing its DPS to something like what, like 700, 800, like that's pretty cool to me. I think turret is also perfect now. Merc Base got nerfed. No surprise there. Merc Base has been a pretty big problem for many years. So yeah, they nerfed the riflemen. I mean, yeah, those don't really do anything. Those are like placebo nerfs. It does like stack up a bit if you get a lot of riflemen, and also because they're a burst tower, so it will be like slightly noticeable if you're spamming riflemen, but overall not too bad. And then Grenadier, they nerfed the damage radius. Yeah, I don't see these doing much either. Like the splash is still big enough to hit plenty of targets. So yeah, was it Merc Base? Still really solid. I'm keeping it at the perfect tier. Definitely a deserved nerf. I see what they're going for there. Ooh, now Cowboy. I think what they did with Cowboy is pretty interesting too. They made it so it got hidden detection at level 2, which is really great. It overall shoots faster and makes more income. And yeah, I was a little worried when they increased the damage because that would mean it'd make less cash overall from each wave, but they also increased the income, which was really solid. So yeah, I don't have any issues with Cowboy. I think Cowboy is perfect, and yeah, he should stay in the perfect tier. Minigunner, oh yes. Yeah, I wasn't sure why they nerfed Minigunner last update. I'm guessing it was to make Golden Minigunner shine a bit more. But yeah, just that 0.1 increase is enough to make a difference. I think Minigunner is now in the perfect tier after being in the almost perfect tier for a while. Alrighty, and Ranger. Again, I think this is another one of those really solid changes. Just that extra, you know, like 0.5 faster fire rate is going to help Ranger quite a lot. Especially because, you know, Ranger before had its damage like slightly nerfed in compensation for getting 8 placement limit. And I like how they increased the explosion max hits to be more faithful to the old Outlaw. Yeah, I can really appreciate that. So I think Ranger is quite perfect now. I have no complaints anymore. I quite like it. Alrighty, so Golden Towers, Golden Pyro. All around got pretty big nerfs, or not big nerfs, these are pretty small ones, like 1 second less burn time, slightly more expensive. I do notice it's $800, so you can't place it on wave 1 if you're a skill tree user, but that's not an issue. You just skip the first wave and you can place it down. Yeah, overall not too bad of a nerf. I think Golden Pyro is fine. Still in the perfect tier. Not too surprised about that. Now Golden Crook Boss. Oh, I loved what they did with Golden Crook Boss. I think it turned out to be a really amazing like late game option. And when I tried it, oh my gosh, it was like outperforming my Excels, my turrets, or not my turrets, my teammates' turrets. It overall was just a really solid option. Yeah, I just love how like the main tower itself is a lot stronger now, dealing a lot more DPS. It's a really interesting direction they're moving in, because I never would imagine they'd want Golden Crook Boss to be like a viable late game DPS, but here we are. Yeah, I think it's a really cool thing, and I think it worked out pretty well, surprisingly. So yeah, I'm going to put Golden Crook Boss in that perfect tier. And for the normal Crook Boss, I just wanted to say this for the normal Crook Boss, I feel like they should really nerf the price to almost be like the old Crook Boss before the shock and awe balance change, just so that we can still have like that version of it there, and just to distinguish these two a bit more, because I still feel like they're so similar and there's no reason to use normal Crook Boss if you have the new one. At least I think so. Like maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know. Golden Cowboy. Wait, where's the change for where they decrease the footprint size? Isn't that... I could have sworn they decreased the footprint size, didn't they? For both Cowboy and normal Golden Cowboy? I was wondering why I didn't see it in the Cowboy one. Well, I think it should be there, but yeah, their footprint sizes are a bit smaller, which is good. Overall, Golden Cowboy makes a lot more income with a little bit less DPS, but I think the price decreases make up for it, so it's overall just become a lot more cost efficient and pays for itself back a lot more. And man, I think the biggest change was definitely that footprint size. That definitely like helps Cowboy to be a lot more viable, because you know, finding space for Cowboy to fit in the support ranges was always a big pain, and then you know, it's taking up the space of all your other towers. So Cowboy, absolutely perfect. Both Cowboys are amazing, really solid. Brawler. I'm surprised they touched Brawler again too, but Brawler's really solid early game now, and that extra reposition damage is going to go really hard in the mid game for catching leaks, or you know, having that global range or that global map range. Yeah, Brawler, I have no more complaints about, to be honest. Wow, they're really on a good track record this update. They're just fixing everything I had complaints about, which is pretty cool actually. I think Brawler's pretty good. Of course, I always preferred the Brawler from like before the shock and awe balance update, but I think this is a good direction and he feels pretty solid to me from testing. Now Necromancer, oh boy. I think we all saw this one coming. A lot of nerfs all around to the units for their health or their damage. The skeleton knight unit took an especially big hit, like, oh man, yeah, that's a big DPS loss. But I guess the bonus is it can charge up faster, so it kind of cancels out, but not really. Like, it's overall more of a nerf. I think Necromancer, still solid tower, it's perfect. It's just to reel back its potential a little bit. Pretty deserved nerf. and it's still perfect tower. Alrighty, so now Accelerator, the laser man himself. They did nerf level 1 and level 2. Pretty understandable, like those levels were pretty good, like a little bit overtuned. But I think even though like these early levels are a little bit worse, the price nerfs and the later levels make up for it, definitely making him just a bit more cheaper to use. So yeah, I think it's really solid, and the biggest thing too is the freeze immunity, which will make him so much more better in events and in frost mode. I do want to say our Accelerator is perfect. It's just, I still wish he was a burst tower, because I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of like this new concept, but I think it's really cool and I want to try to keep an open mind. So I will also say Accelerator is perfect. Yeah, it's really cool what they did. Stun immune, like boss killer DPS, or not, I shouldn't say he's a boss killer because he's not really a boss killer. He's just like really stun immune, like really long range sustained DPS. That's what Accelerator is now, which is really interesting to see. And if that's what they're going for, then I'd say they achieved that. So that's perfect to me. Hacker, oh my gosh, I absolutely loved what they did with Hacker. I've been like wanting this for so many years, but finally that clone cost has been cut to be really low so that it's now usable in the early to mid. So if you are having trouble with like a really hard wave spike in the difficulty, then you always have the Hacker. You know, you can clone that like level, what is it, that level 3 turret, or you know, maybe you're like level 3 golden mini, and then you just demolish like that tank boss in follow mode or something. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's really cool. The potential for the clone is really, really solid too. I can see people doing a lot of cool techs, like cloning DJ to, you know, get the different track buffs. Or, you know, they can even clone something like Gatling for that really, really big DPS spike for just one wave. I think it's really cool to see. And not only that, but the fact that like top half is so much more viable now, and overall great buffs to their early levels. And they did Hacker some good justice. And honestly, I didn't think Hacker needed much changes before. The reason why I put it in the almost perfect tier in my last video that I scrapped was because I felt like the top half didn't have much going for it. But now that they made it so it clones towers at a much cheaper cost for, you know, that lower duration, I think that's really solid. And of course that extra enemy conversion rate over the bottom path, it does have more, right? Okay, I'm not sure about that. I think I have to test that later. But yeah, overall I will say Hacker, perfect tower. It works really well for me. I love the concept that they did and the way they pushed that fantasy a little bit more with the cloning. Really solid. I love it. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to the exclusive towers. We're moving on onto my OG GOAT, Gladiator. Yeah, I mean, these buffs make sense to me. The extra fire rate buff on his ability and levels 3, 4, and 5 felt pretty underwhelming compared to his first two levels. So yeah, I think these are pretty solid buffs. Well, where did I place Gladiator at? Almost perfect? Yeah, I think I placed him there in my last video because he just felt a little underwhelming, especially in the mid game. So yeah, I think with those changes, he is perfect now, at least before his rework. Frost Blaster? Ooh, Frost Blaster. I know many people didn't like his new concept of like the max slowness, which was pretty interesting to me. I actually didn't mind it too much. I saw what they're going for. But with this new concept, they're basically just reverting it to Frost Blaster before the Shock and Awe balance update. Really solid, has back its freeze time, which I think it desperately needed. You know, that's really part of the fantasy or concept of Frost Blaster, is, you know, that flash freeze. It's been there since the original release of the tower, so I'm glad they stayed faithful to that. And surprisingly, they kept the hit slowness too, and they actually increased it to be a bit more. It is of course worse for that single target DPS, but honestly it's a fair trade-off, and I think it works well with the tower. So yeah, I can't believe it, but all the towers in the major rework tier, or revert tier, they're all gone. Frost Blaster is perfect to me, and he just feels like he's in the best state he's ever been in. So yeah, I love that. An Archer. Wait, is that an Outpost 32 reference? What the heck? Oh man, I really thought Archer was gonna get its flying detection back. Oh, bro, why did they troll us? Oh yeah, with that, that's pretty much the whole tier list. And I think the only towers left that I feel like definitely need changes are of course Slasher. You just need to invest like way too much into Slasher for what he does, and he can still perform really well against options like Warlock, you know, Necromancer. He does decent like the base game modes, but when it comes to the event game modes or hardcore, he's just not viable at all, and it's too costly for what he does. Commando, I think Commando is still pretty solid, but of course, for what he does, I still feel like he's too expensive, and it doesn't really fulfill on the fantasy of, you know, this Space Marine guy, right? So yeah, Commando, I think definitely needs some changes to be more similar to Warlock, and that'll be more faithful to, you know, the old Commando on release, right? I think that'd be pretty cool. Swarmer, I didn't see many people using Swarmer after his nerfs, so I think he does need something, a little bump. Elf Camp, I mean, Elf Camp's perfect right now. I only said this because I was like salty that he didn't get like cool extra units that are like as strong as Relic, but obviously like they can't do that. So. Jester, I really just think it's the poison pools that need some buffs because they feel forgotten, especially after nerfs. Hallowpunk, Snowballer, both trophy towers. No explanation needed there. They need something to help them, man. Please. And then Elementalist. I thought Elementalist was really solid. I don't remember why I put him here, but I think it would be nice to have him get a few more buffs. Because he's kind of in a similar situation to NG, where he's like jack of all trades, but it doesn't feel like he really excels in like one area. And then of course Mecha Base and War Machine we know will get changed anyways, so yeah. That's pretty much the Valentine's balance updates and my thoughts on it. Overall, I'm really happy with where all the towers landed. I think these are definitely the towers that should get changed next, and maybe some of the towers in like the almost perfect tier, and of course Executioner. I'm really surprised Executioner didn't get a few buffs this update, but I'm guessing they're gonna do it in a future update, which makes sense. He does need a few bug fixes here and there. But yeah, I'm really happy with the Valentine's balance update. I know not many people really like the changes. I know like they said this was one of the worst updates in TDS history, and I was just kind of confused by that because this is probably the most fun I've ever had playing TDS. You know, just seeing people using all these like different towers, all these different early game towers, mid game towers, it just feels so much more varied and fun. And definitely from all the eras I played in TDS, back from like 2019 till now, this is probably the best one I've ever seen. So yeah, TDS just feels so much fresher to me. Overall, I think the balancers did an amazing job with this Valentine's balance update and with the Shock and Awe update. Of course, there were exceptions, and there were definitely a few towers that got gutted pretty badly, but of course, all the changes aren't gonna land perfectly because, you know, there's so many towers are changing. So of course, like, it's gonna take time. They're not perfect, right? Like, they're human too. So yeah, that's why I was a little confused at everyone saying like, why is this update so bad? Why is it so trash? Like, no, if you just take the time to read the balance logs and take some time to test it in game, like actual game modes and not just like the sandbox mode, you will realize that a lot of these changes were good. Like, yeah, I don't know, like when I was working on the video I scrapped the other week, I was just so confused why people kept saying Golden Cowboy was so bad. I was like, oh my goodness, if you just went in game and tested it, you'd realize it's so good. And then they buffed it even more, so it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting to see for sure. The community is definitely not the same as I remembered it a few years ago. But yeah, little side rant. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is my complete tier list for the changes I liked and changes I'd like to see in the future. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. And if you want to see any other cool videos I got, feel free to check out my channel. Oh yeah, and that's right, if you want to leave any of your thoughts below about what you thought of this balance update, feel free to do it in the comments below. But with that, as always, savor the cheese, consume the bread, be one with the bamboo. See you later, bye bye!